Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Daily Drop-In. This is day 3 of No Ray, and I'm kind of getting used to it. I am enjoying hosting Daily Drop-In this week because I've had the opportunity to connect with some absolutely incredible people, and today is no exception. So go get your coffee, go get your water, go get your tea, get your tired butt out of bed. Do what you got to do so that you can lean in and learn today, because Daily Drop-In today is going to blow your mind. An absolute incredible guest is here. So get your stuff, get ready, and let's go. All right, everybody. Good morning and welcome to Daily Drop-In, the Daily Educator Morning Show, where we get to talk shop, talk life, and just help you wake up a little bit. We are streaming literally on all the things: Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, YouTube, you name it, we're there. But you know that because you're listening and watching. So whether you're watching this live or whether you are one of the thousands of people that watch this on the replay throughout the day, thanks for joining us. Thanks for hanging out. Today is a special day. Today's a good day. Today's a day that I've been planning on for a long time, because I have the amazing Plan Like a Pirate Queen with us, Dawn Harris. Dawn, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, goodness. You are making me laugh way too hard this morning. I love it. I'm super excited to be here. Really, really a joy. I love the work that Teach Better does and giving a platform to teachers to kind of share their stories and whatnot. So I'm excited, again, just to be here today and share all things Plan Like a Pirate and planning with intentionality and just what it's like to be a teacher. I think we could say post-COVID now. I don't know. It's not quite post, but, you know.
For full transparency, I know you're up in the Ohio Valley. I'm in Florida, and people have been saying that term post-COVID for a couple of years down here, that's a story for another day, right?
Right, isn't
it? So yeah, we're going to talk about planning. I've gotten some questions and emails that people have sent to me to ask you, because they know that this is your cup of tea. This is your wheelhouse. You have written the book of all books about how to plan and how to get your stuff together and organized. So we'll talk about that. First, I want to talk about you, because you're a rock star. You're a superstar that's just out there doing all the things. On some people, I don't know who they are. Maybe they're just tired and they haven't figured out yet that they're actually connected to you. But some people out there that are watching might not necessarily know who you are or might not realize their connection to you. Can you just walk us through who you are and what you do?
Sure. Thank you. You're so kind. Well, first and foremost, I'm a high school educator. That is where my heart is. I've been in the high school classroom going on 10 years now, serving. I actually taught at the junior high level for a while too, but my certification is in 7 through 12 adolescent and young adult education in English language arts. So at present, I am serving sophomores and freshmen, and I'm also a teacher of the gifted and talented. So
okay, let me just stop you real quick. As a father of 4 kids, my oldest of which is a 16-year-old sophomore. God bless you. God bless you.
You know,
I used to think kindergarten teachers walked on water, but now I think it's the teachers of the freshmen and the sophomores. So, Dawn, thank you. Thank you for being here. Carry on with yourself, though.
It's a joy. I will have to say middle grades had their challenges as well, but gosh, the kids are just amazing, you know, and you're right. In those years, you know, those later formative years of the preteens and early adolescence, where they're really just trying to figure out who they are. It can be a challenge, but it's also a joy to see the growth in your students, particularly the freshmen, when they enter into high school and then move into that, you know, later in the year and even coming back sophomore year. It's like, wow, big change. But,
yeah,
you know, that's one part of my job. I love writing. You know, I blog. I've written Plan Like a Pirate, which is my first book, and it's been exciting. That has been a journey all on its own. I've had the pleasure of teaching pre-service teachers and the graduate teaching program at Wright State University in the area where I live. Goodness gracious. I just try to connect with adult learners as often as I can, so that we can continue to learn and grow together. And I also have been blessed to become part of the Lead Like a Pirate PLN, which has been exciting. And I work on Saturdays with Shelly Burgess and Beth Huff and Tracy Browder to just lead our educational leaders in conversation about important topics in education. So that has been a joy on the journey too. So
that is so cool. So cool. Yeah. Like I said, you're doing all the things, and you're doing them all extremely well. The Lead Lab crew is incredible inspiration to me. I don't know if you've been following Beth's journey right now in DC.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
With all the suits and
yes.
making the changes and talking to the right people, which is really cool, being an advocate for
absolutely. It's wonderful.
So that's awesome. I do want to say a special good morning to one of my friends that's watching. She's an absolutely amazing educator from South Carolina. Holly Stewart is checking in. I gotta ask you a question real quick, Dawn, because Holly sent me a message this week, and I gotta ask you what you would have done. Okay.
Oh,
she sent me a message because she knows I'm a huge country music fan. I go to every concert that comes my way. Now, Holly was presented with free tickets to go see Kenny Chesney, and she laughed them off and said, "No, not my cup of tea." And I said, "Go." She said, "Nope, not happening." Dawn, what would you have done? I'm just curious. And there's only one right answer to this.
Well, Dave,
keep in mind that we've got about 40 minutes left here, and I can click buttons at any time.
Listen, I am not one to turn down a concert. I'll be honest with you. I've been to some wild concerts because I've gotten some tickets. So I have to say,
there's a butt coming.
No, but actually, I would ask Hubs like, "Hey, you want to do this?" And yeah, Holly, I love that. I think we just call it a date night, right? And I won't say, listen, I won't say at Applebee's with the Bourbon Street
a little walk right here,
or whatever that is, the commercial. I don't know. But no, you know what, Dave? I'd take the tickets. I think it would be a blast. I wouldn't know the words to the songs, but I could, enjoy the moment.
Fair enough. Well, truth be told, 4 kids, and my kids have all told me there's no way I'm going to concerts with you, Dad. So go have fun. So I get it. It's not for everybody. It's not for everyone. However, I mean, Holly, you could have got the tickets and sent them my way and said, "Dave, you want to make the trip?" I'm just saying. I could have pretended I was teacher of the year too, because that's how they passed out the tickets. Just saying. It's all good.
Oh goodness.
All right. Well, I just learned a little bit more about you. It sounds like you're open to change. You're open to changing new things, even if you have horrible taste in music. So fair enough. Speaking of horrible taste in music,
sure.
Buddy Chad Ostrowski is here as well. One of the big dogs from the team is hanging out, and if he's here joining us bright and early in the morning, he's excited. So that's awesome.
I'm excited to see him there. Hey, Chad. Good morning.
Good stuff. All right. So you mentioned Plan Like a Pirate, and I love how you said first book. So speaking of planning with intentionality, even throwing first in front of that, you didn't say it's my book. It's my first book, which means thoughts are brewing already. Things are happening already, Don. So Plan Like a Pirate. Can you walk us through that? I know there are a lot of educators with dreams of writing a book and then writing a book and landing it with the Burgess crew. Getting it out there into the hands of thousands of educators. Can you walk us through your journey? First of all, what gave you the confidence to say, "Yeah, I'm doing this," to pitch it there? And then once it all happened, like just the emotions and the thoughts that went through your head and your mind.
Yeah, gosh, that is a wild journey. I'm just going to tell you, I have been writing, much of my adult life, but a lot of it has been fiction writing. I love writing short stories, and I can't say that I don't have a couple novels in the works tucked back there. It's just something that I enjoy doing really as a hobby. But then when I became an educator, I started thinking about all of the ways in which I could share the things that I was doing in my classroom. So I started blogging, just, here and there. It wasn't anything that I was committed to doing on a regular basis or a consistent basis, but I had really tried to stay up to date on doing research and those kinds of things. I've been in different programs for learning for as long as I can remember at the college level and the graduate level. So writing has always been a part of my life. And I actually finished my EDS degree in 2018 as an education specialist. And I had written so much during that program that I was like, holy cow, like I could write a book. And so I really started thinking like, well, maybe I should write a book. So I started thinking about all of the things that I had blogged about over the years, the things that I had done in my classroom that I hadn't written down, and just started to think about a vision of what I would share with folks if I were to write something for teachers. And so I just built out kind of a skeleton of a book and just started adding to it. Well, then COVID hit, and I found myself a little more time than we normally have as teachers. And I said, I'm going to write this book. I'm going to do it. And so it really ended up being this 80 something, 90 page something that I put together. It was like a framework. And so it just happened. I was in a chat one day with some folks. And I think one of the questions was something like, what's something you've accomplished lately that you're really proud of? And I was like, well, I like wrote a book, I guess. And that just kind of spurred some conversation. And then Shelly Burgess and I had a conversation. She was like, you got a book? I was like, I do. And then we had the discussion and it evolved and the journey was amazing. But I always tell people, now, I am an English teacher and I'm a writer. So what was exciting for me is excruciating for other people. The editing process.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
It could be tormenting, but I was always so eager, like, give me the next set. I want to go through, because as an English teacher, I see my students writing every day and I know the effects on writing that a good editing process can have on just really transforming what students write. And that's applicable certainly to adult writing. We've got to go through that process to get our message across clearly and concisely. And the editors were just amazing to work with. I just put all my trust and faith in them that, what was being put in that book and the edits that they had suggested were the right edits. And they really were. So Plan Like a Pirate is here. And it's just, I guess I could call it my manifesto, but I really just like to call it something that, can help educators to go into their classroom and just pull apart bits and pieces of it. You can use Plan Like a Pirate from beginning to end in your classroom. It's really what I do, but it's more like Lego bricks. There are parts and pieces in there that you can pull out and snap together and put together a learning environment for your students that really fits you and what you're doing each day. So it's been awesome.
Good.
Amazing.
So good. And first of all, Dave Burgess would say, no, you are calling it your manifesto. If it's your book and we put it out there, it's your manifesto. So let's make that very clear. It's your manifesto with practical tools that people can take away.
Absolutely.
I love this focus on the editing process. I feel like in education, as of late, meaning the last 10, 15 years, the idea of receiving feedback, especially for adult learners, has felt scary for a lot of people. It's felt punitive. It's felt judgmental that if somebody is offering you suggestions to improve, we look at it as though somebody's identifying our flaws, weaknesses, and going to use it against us in some fashion. Now, I talked about this yesterday, but I've been reading a lot of Adam Grant's work. And Adam Grant is this amazing writer, researcher who talks about the idea of reflection and growing and improving and admitting weaknesses and having other people that can help you grow. And he's pointed out case study after case study after case study, people that have changed their mind. 15 years ago, we called it flip-flopping, but that have changed their minds repeatedly and have found more success than others. So this idea of having an editor lean into your work, this work that you put your blood, sweat, and tears into and say, oh, have you thought about changing things? And you being open to the feedback is just absolutely incredible. Is that, you say it's the English teacher in you, but it's got to be more than that. I mean, you're a person that accepts feedback. How did that happen? What did you have to do to soften yourself and open yourself up to receiving constructive feedback?
Well, it's a couple of things. First of all, it's growth. It's a growth mindset. Like, first and foremost, we as humans, not just educators, but as human beings, we have to understand that we are continual works in progress. Like we are never going to just wake up one day and be like, this is it. This is all that I am, all that I'm going to be. I've arrived, so to speak. That's that for kids in classrooms, that can be kind of dangerous thinking, right? But as humans, as writers, going into this process, I knew the editing process was coming, and I know what the editing process is like with my students. So yes, I did have that, but I also looked at it as the folks that I'm working with. And this is, I think, for anybody that's writing a book, you cannot put your first copy down and feel like that is the best copy that I've written, because anyone that has written something and walked away from it and gone back to it at any point later looks at their work and is like, oh my gosh, that's worded terribly, or I forgot this, or I could have added this. It's almost like a painting. An artist is going to look at their painting and there's always going to be another brushstroke that they could add or cover up. And writing is much the same way. And so going into writing a book, we really have to understand that there is going to be perhaps a painful process. And I think that for most writers is probably the most intimidating piece, and what's holding them back is that they know that once they finish writing those couple of 100 pages, because it's a lot, that is really just the beginning of this process, the beginning of the process of making it what it is supposed to be, what it is, how it's going to represent you and the people that choose to read that book. It's just important to go into it with that mindset that it's only going to get better. And if we want to put out the best for everyone, that we really need to be prepared to go through that process.
Love it. Yeah. It's not about saying that you're not good. It's just saying, let's make it even better. So,
absolutely.
So good. Dawn, thanks for that amazing advice. Thanks for telling your story and helping us figure out the thoughts that are going through your head, because there are a lot of us out there that are listening to this and watching this saying, ooh, I want to do what she's doing. So being able to help connect those dots of your path might inspire somebody else to take that chance that they've been holding off on taking for a long, long time. That's good. That's good. Hey, I got a question. Are you okay if in just a second, I kind of put you in the hot seat? We've got a segment here called Brainstorm Bank, where people are able to ask questions and get your expert advice and get your expert guidance. Somebody sent me a question earlier in the week I want to throw at you and get your 2 cents and see if anybody that's watching now, waking up, has any questions that they want to throw at you. And we'll kind of see where it goes. Are you good with that?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. 9 seconds, and we're going to jump into the Brainstorm Bank.
All right.
All right, welcome back to Daily Drop-In, where we are streaming on all the things: Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, YouTube, and probably 5 other things that I have forgotten about. Today, we are hanging out with the amazing Dawn Harris, who woke up bright and early. She's sipping the water, making sure that those Ohio allergens are staying out of her system so she can smile and inspire us today. She just walked us through her journey as an educator and as an author. Now, we're here in Brainstorm Bank, where we get to put her on the hot seat and say, hey, you're the expert. Fill us in. Let us know what you're thinking. And Dawn, I was telling you that earlier this week, somebody knew that I was going to be connecting with you. And they sent me a message that said, hey, can you just ask Dawn this question? Because it's kind of driving me nuts right now. And I thought it was a perfect question for you as the person who has written Plan Like a Pirate, who has this expertise about planning with intentionality. And I thought it was a great question. So the person, I will leave their name out of it. They actually live in the Ohio area, though. So for whatever that's worth for you, they said that they've got about 25 days left in the school year. But right now they feel like even if they had 100 days left in the school year, they wouldn't be able to get everything done. And they're wondering, how do they plan on teaching the priorities? How do they plan with intentionality for these last few weeks to make sure that they're hitting the right things, getting the right stuff done, and focusing on the things that the kids need the most? I figured, Dawn, you might be the best person to answer this. What do you think?
Well, I don't know about the best person, but I can take a shot. I think this is the time really for teachers to take some risks and step out of their comfort zone with kids, right? Much of the country is wrapping up testing at this point in time, and teachers find themselves, like you said, with these few short days left. And Many of us have power standards in our district that we've had to focus on all year long. We have our classroom data, but the real data that we've been looking for, that big data, isn't going to come until later in the summer or early fall for us to kind of dive back into planning later in the year. And so what I've been doing, it's been exciting, is just trying some different things with students and giving them the opportunity to dig into some of the standards and to even review some material and to do some reflection on the school year, and just create some opportunities for kids that are really exciting. Because I think we've all been saying the kids are checking out, right? Heck, we feel like we're checking out some days. And to keep things going and to keep the momentum going, because I've heard a lot of people say this year feels like it's even harder than last year, right? Because I think we're just figuring out what is the new norm, but we can't let that stop us from creating learning environments that allow kids to be excited in them. So for example, this past week, goodness gracious, I've done escape room activities with my kids before, but this past week we actually did, oh my goodness, Dave, it was amazing. We did our first set of actual breakout EDU boxes in the classroom.
Okay.
And I've done the digital breakouts before, and we have boxes at our school now. And so we use those in the freshman classroom as we explored the work that we've done with Romeo and Juliet together. So we had 4 groups of learners working together to solve boxes. And so what I would add to this idea of planning with intentionality at the end of the year and trying to get everything in is don't focus on perfect, right? To take risks and to try new things and to get kids, thinking about what they're doing, being more engaged in the classroom. It's sometimes trial and error. So let me tell you about breakout EDU boxes. What happened with us is, well, Dave, I think I made them a little too challenging. So I had designed a 50-minute breakout experience that turned into a 3-period breakout experience. And I'll be sharing that story soon. I want to document it. And the kids were amazing and they had a great time, but they gave me the business at the end of it. Like, Ms. Harris, are you trying to kill us with this? What's going on? But it was fun and they had a good time. And so they're excited about what is coming next, right? And so this is the time of year we can still look at our standards and our ICANNs, our learning targets that we've developed for this year. And we can just find new ways of trying it, it's just, you talk about planning with intentionality. It really means just going in and saying, what tools and resources do I have available to me? I realize that we have the breakout EDU boxes at school. What have we been focusing on? And in that unit, what have we not yet covered? And just building out that plan for learning to be able to do that. And so those breakout boxes were an exciting way for students to really get more engaged with learning that they'd actually really completed. And so when teachers, I know veteran teachers have, a lot more comfort and confidence and strategies in a lot of cases than newer teachers. And I would say to the newer teachers out there, go talk to your veteran peers and see what they're doing at the end of the year and what's working for them and how they're keeping kids engaged at this point. Because the one thing to remember as educators, I think a lot of times we forget is you don't have to do this alone. Maybe somebody did a really awesome lesson with kids earlier in the year. Ask them and see if you can try to replicate that in your classroom. Where it's awesome to be in a profession where at any point in time we can call on our peers for support. Not a lot of people are able to say that they work in a field like that. So,
oh, that's so good. That's so good. I love everything that you just said. It's this great reminder that this is actually the sweet time of year for a lot of people.
Yes.
For about 150 days out of the year, there's this amazing pressure that I'm not going to go into the debate about assessments and good or bad or evaluations and observations, good or bad. But this is that sweet spot of the year where oftentimes teachers say, here's what I would do if I didn't have to worry about assessments. And if I didn't have to worry about it being evaluated all the time, I would ... Well, this is that time of year where a lot of those other things are behind you, where you can put your money where your mouth is and do all those things that you said, I wish I could, I wish I would. This is that time. I get it. This is also the time of year that we are exhausted, where we're tired and we say, but I don't have the energy anymore. So I'll remind people, again, father of 4 kids, 2 holidays that I celebrate in my family are Christmas and Easter. Easter does not have the same amount of intentionality behind the gift giving and the wrapping and all that kind of stuff. But there's the same level of excitement from my kids. They can go find a little Easter egg with a starburst in it and be just as excited as if they just opened up a brand new bike, right? And it's the same thing in your classrooms. You don't have to do room transformations and these grandiose things at this time of year if you're exhausted. Your kids will be excited if you leave a wrapped present sitting at the front of the room and say, don't open till Friday. The kids will still get excited about it. They're still going to get jazzed. Take a chance over these next few weeks and do something that you've always wanted to do that you just didn't feel like you had the time or the effort to do, and your kids will thank you. I love that reminder. This is the time to take those risks. Love it, love it, love it.
It is. And this is an awesome time. This is what I love most about this time of the year is getting kids outside. Like there's so much to do outside. Sidewalk poetry, number walks, finding shapes and, exploring science, every subject area, going for walks and figuring out, what's going on with the history of our neighborhoods. How can we integrate that into social studies and even sociology and psychology, and what does the outdoors do to people as opposed to inside? Write about everything you see. My goodness, there isn't anything that you can't connect to learning that is out of doors. So it's a great time to be doing that as well.
That's good. Well, let's give a little plug into the Burgess collection of resources here. If you're somebody that's okay, but that's cool, but I'm not creative, which again, Dave Burgess would go nuts if you heard you say I'm not creative. It just means you haven't put in the effort to become creative yet. Go out and buy a couple of short reads. Get TLAP, get Teach Like a Pirate. Go, if you're an administrator or a leader, go get Lead Lab, get Lead Like a Pirate. If you are looking to figure out how to plan like a pirate, go buy Plan Like a Pirate. Just get yourself some resources. As you said, Dawn, you don't have to do this alone. If you don't think the person across the hall or next door to you has all this creative energy flowing, there are educators literally everywhere that are writing and sharing resources that can tap you into how to live this lifestyle. So go make yourself a pirate, be a renegade. Now, Kenny Chesney, he's the country pirate. He's the leader of No Shoes Nation. I know you don't like this kind of stuff.
Oh, boy, I'm like, wait a second. I missed a pirate? Oh, goodness.
You did. You did, but that's on you. You and Holly Stewart can go talk about that some other day and how you don't fully embrace the pirate lifestyle. And
I know Holly and I are gonna have to talk. We're gonna have to talk.
No, I think that was great advice. So this is a time where oftentimes throughout the year we're focusing on content and covering a bunch of curriculum. This is the time where you get to expand your horizons as an educator and figure out what's working for you, what chances you're willing to take, and what pedagogical tricks you're willing to explore and examine. So you mentioned breakouts and how they can be epic failures, they can be epic successes, but either way, the kids are going to be excited about it. They're going to lean into it. As you think about the end of the year coming up, is there anything that is on your, I hope I get to do this list, or things that you want to still try before the year is done? Maybe it's hugging and loving on kids. Maybe it's just fist bumps. Maybe this is the time where you get to go outside with the kids. What's the thing that you're really looking forward to?
I think what I'm really looking most forward to is just, and not to be too forward thinking and to like put pressure on the kids, but just to say, you know what, you just about have a year under your belt. We're going to ride this out. We're going to enjoy it. We're going to be engaged. You're going to have the summer to enjoy and just reset, like re-energize yourselves. And not really thinking about coming back in the fall, but having them find themselves in a place where they can be ready to come back in the fall. And one of the really awesome things that I hope that my co-teaching partner, and I have an awesome co-teacher in my classroom, Ms. Gunnerman, she is a rock star. I just love her. She has been amazing this year in working through this process of mindfulness and being present and finding ways to just connect with yourself, just to be able to come into class and be focused on learning and those kinds of things. And what I would really hope is that we can use some of those practices as we are now wrapping up testing. We just finished just a week ago. And so bringing some of those back to the forefront of learning these last few weeks and giving them some real strategies and things to think about as they not work through, but enjoy the summer. and start to get prepared to come back in the fall. Again, I know a lot of people say, we need the summer for resetting and recharging. And yeah, we do, but we still need to be working on what kind of things do we teach them that they can even use through the summer that are not necessarily content-based learning.
So good. I do a lot of talking about using the lead strategy, focusing on things with leverage, endurance, and depth. And you just hit on this great reminder that this is the time of year where we can think about preparing our kids for whatever's next. So whether that's this summer, if they've got a summer job and wanting to give them those essential skills to be successful in their job, you're an Ohio person, maybe they're going to plan a trip to Cedar Point and you want them to be able to figure out strategically how to hit all the best roller coasters in time. So you're going to teach some sort of logic problems with them. Maybe they're going to have some lemonade stands and you want them to figure out how to save their money or how much to charge for the lemonade. Or you can lean into your teaching peers and say, hey, I teach freshmen. Let's go talk to the sophomore teachers and say, if I could teach the students anything in these last 20 days to bring about success in your classroom, what would it be? And leaning into these last few days to prepare your kids for their future, not just to get through it, but to make sure that this summer and next school year are the most successful ever. I love that reminder. Good stuff, Dawn. See, I knew you were the right person to ask about this stuff because you're forward thinking, but you're practical thinking as well. It's not this big 30,000 foot view. You say, yeah, here's what I'm doing in my classroom, in my school with my kids, and it might help you as well. I'm a believer. You can't steer a parked car, so put things in motion and let people steer it. So good stuff. Right. Good stuff. Awesome. I'll tell you what. Speaking of good stuff, one of my favorite segments of this show is when we share good news stories. So in just a second, after the music plays, we're going to jump in and share some good news. So if people are in the comments and they've got good news that they want to share with us, Don, if you've got anything that's good that you want to share, feel free to share it. I've got something that is interesting. I'm going to take a different spin on our good news story of the day, and I'm going to share it with you and see what you think about it. So I'll see you in 13 seconds on the other side. And here we are on Daily Drop, and I'm hanging out with Dawn Harris of Plan Like a Pirate fame. We are streaming on all the platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, and anything else that's out there. So we are here talking shop. She has given us amazing advice about how to plan for the end of the year, how to write a book, how to live life, just this amazing life with grace, how to put up with Ohio allergies, how to smile through it, how to have amazing energy super early in the morning, how to bring the fire every single day. And now we're going to lean in and talk about some good news in the world. It's, as we know, if you're scrolling through social media, if you're watching the news, you can be bombarded with bad news, with pessimism, with people telling us that the world is going to end tomorrow. And we can buy into it, we can believe it, or we can shift our focus and say, no, let's find the good. We know that what we look for, we find. As an administrator, I would choose one day a week, oftentimes to go into classrooms and say, all I'm looking for are amazing things, and I'm not leaving this classroom until I find something amazing. I'm not documenting anything else. And it's amazing that oftentimes when I did that, I'd find something amazing in 10 seconds because that was where my focus was. Mm-hmm. If you look for good, you'll find good. And today, I found some good that is not good in a lot of other people's minds. It was actually a social media post I saw last night that it's had me thinking because I thought it wasn't true. It couldn't be true, but it is true. This isn't a story about cute ducklings. It's not a story about clean energy. It's not a story that you're going to find on mainstream media. As a matter of fact, it's a story about a Twitter takeover. It's a story you might have heard something about this billionaire who is buying Twitter. And I'm going to tell you the interesting spin that I have on this, because I'm not going to go political on this and talk about whether or not Elon Musk is the right person and free speech and not free speech. That's not what we're talking about. We're also not necessarily going to talk capitalism, but we kind of are. So I saw this post last night, and let me just read the post for you real quick, and I'll tell you why I think this is an interesting story. The story said, did you know that if you saved $200,000 a day from the day Christopher Columbus arrived in America in 1492 to today, you still would not have enough money to buy Twitter? Think about that for a second. $200,000 a day, every single day from 1492 to today, and you still wouldn't have the $44 billion that it took Elon Musk to buy Twitter. So I looked at it and I said, that can't be true. But I did the math. And the math is actually accurate, that would actually only add up to $38 billion. So $200,000 a day from 1492 to today. Not enough to buy Twitter. Now, some of you are thinking, see, that's a problem. Again, but if you look for the good, you can find it. So I'm going to spin this, and I'm going to ask you, Dawn, if you had $44 billion, what would you do with it? Because my mind has just been racing on all the things I would have bought other than Twitter if I had $44 billion. Because when you think about it like that, it's $200,000 a day since 1492, and it's still not enough money. So there's a lot of things you could do with this world, a lot of good you could do with the world if you had $44 billion. What would you do, Dawn?
What would I do? Goodness. See, that's kind of a loaded question, Dave, because my first thought is like, I'm going to buy myself and my family an island somewhere and we're going to move.
Do it.
But I mean,
but when you say somewhere, we're not talking about like Lake Erie, right? We're talking like somewhere warm.
Yeah, like off the coast of South Africa somewhere.
Fair enough.
Something.
Okay.
No, really and truly. I mean, if I'm thinking about it from, this giving side of things, right? Because that's also where my mind goes, is to, I honestly would give every single educator in this country, because I'm sure if Elon Musk can buy Twitter for that much, I can give every single educator in this district every single thing that they want and need to educate the students in their classroom for as long as I could. So, and what I say by want and need is this, our kids go every day without being able to even bring in paper and pencils to school, right? We have a lot of students who aren't able to do that. And teachers bring money out of their own pockets to be able to provide for their kids in the classroom, whether it's snacks or school supplies or the latest resources that their schools can't even afford to buy. But then there's also this side of teaching where like, ooh, I want flexible seating in my classroom, and I want the latest piece of technology, and I want iPads for all my kids, right? Not necessarily needs. I go all the way back to, when my son was in elementary school and I had gone through some lessons with him in his school, his classroom, and the programming about, learning the difference between wants and needs. I think it's okay for teachers to want some things for the purposes of making school easier for everyone, including themselves. And so Elon Musk, you should have given teachers everything that they want and need for their classroom.
So just so we're clear, even though he's spending $44 billion, he still has another $200 billion that he can still pass out. So, I mean, we can still solicit. I don't want to make the guy mad yet because he might have ideas. So
let's tag him in this video. Come on, Elon, you got some work to do, buddy.
Fair enough.
And maybe make us just a teacher Twitter.
There you go. You're onto something now. Maybe that's what we can do. That's what we can do, because I know on my journey right now, that's about the money I'm making, about $200,000 a day. So maybe I'll just go develop my own platform and do my own thing. Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah. Me too, Dave. Me too.
and Holly's laughing. Yeah, only 38 billion. I know, but it's all relative. 38's not 44, but yeah, that's still a crazy amount of money. And I think that would be a cool activity to do with kids as well, to just ask them, how much is a billion? How much is a million? Big numbers that we can't conceptualize, but asking them to truly track how much money you would have if you saved $200,000 a day, every single day, how long it would take you to get to $44 billion. And then to realize that that's literally just a small fraction of his net worth, which is just mind blowing to even try to wrap my head around. That's like trying to visualize how far away the planets and the stars are. Yeah, I can see them, but do I really understand it? I don't. Recognizing what a light year is, it doesn't make any sense.
Those visuals, and I'm thinking right away, like math teachers, I would be jumping on this. You've ever seen the visuals? It's like a little person and it'll show this big, block of like, this is $1 million. This is $1 billion. So just being able to, holding like, this is $1,000 in your hand. What does it look like if there are $1,000 stacks in millions and billions and whatever, just to kind of see how much actual physical money if you were to be able to just look at
Right.
it, what that would look like. I think that would be mind-blowing for kids. And
Yeah,
then to know that there's, what did you say, 400 billion more left?
right.
Goodness.
That's what's crazy, right? I mean,
Mhm.
it doesn't make sense to my little bitty brain. Yeah, I told you I've got a high school kid who's got his first job, and in my mind, he is just rolling in the cash right now because kids these days are making some money. I remember my first job, I was getting $2.80 an hour. That is not what he's making. I mean,
Right.
he's bringing home tons and tons of money, and he's saving 95% of it. But even with that, in his mind, he's thinking he's saving a lot of money. And then just to start thinking about it in comparison to, okay, that's good, but every kid wants to be a YouTube star. Every kid wants to be a millionaire by the time they're 25. Let's talk about what it actually takes to do that, aside from
Yes.
wishes and pitches. So
Exactly. And we talk about that a lot in class. Kids say, "Oh, I want to be a YouTuber." I'm like, "Show me your videos." And they're like, "Yes, go get a video, make a video, come back. Let's talk about how you're going to do that." Right. But it's important. And they don't realize until, like you said, they start making money. And then they start spending it, and they're like, whoa, it goes much quicker than it comes in, right? We
sure.
realize that as adults, that's just that life experience. And so those first jobs are really important for helping students to learn those life lessons. My son is getting ready to graduate from the police academy. I'm super excited for him, and he's going to be out there protecting and serving and all of that, but he's also moving into a new phase in his life where he's going to be acquiring some new adult skills, right, that he hasn't had to really experience before. And so that's just life. And we have to help as children figure out what is their role in all of this. Yes, it's about, I tell kids two things. There are two things that are going to be really important for you in your life. And that's, how are you making a living, and how are you developing relationships with people? And that's why school is so important, because you learn those two things. What are the skills you're going to take with you when you leave, in terms of being able to provide for yourself and your family, and how are you going to manage those important relationships in your life? And I talk about that a little bit in Plan Like a Pirate. There's a section called Charting the Course to a Better World, where I just really break down how do we use, curiosity, hope, advocacy, responsibility, tolerance to, form this, our own world, the world that we want to live in, that's going to be better for ourselves, better for others in it who are a part of our lives. And that's just, we can't let that, fall to the wayside. We can't let our content overshadow the skills that we give students to go out and be successful and productive and kind. It's so important.
good. So good. It's a great reminder as well. I know oftentimes as educators, we feel like our job is to prepare kids to go out and work in a career, to be successful in their jobs. But we forget oftentimes all that entails. Even if that was a singular focus, which it's not, but even if that were the singular focus, is for us to just drive the economy and make sure that kids can go out and get jobs, we have to recognize that as adults, the vast majority of the friendships that we have formed in our lives are through the people that we work with. And we want to make sure that the relationships that are fostered from work can be successful and productive as well. We want to make sure that our kids are able to go out and find people that have characteristics that are noble and uplifting, that can raise us up to become better people. And if everybody that they're working with simply signed up for their job just because they're chasing the dollar and they just want to go make some money, then the friends that they're going to be surrounding themselves with are going to have that singular mindset as well. So I love that reminder of developing the whole person to help create kids that are going to create the world that they want to live in. You are good people here, Dawn, and you've got a kiddo that's going to be out there doing the right work for the right reasons. So I can only imagine that pride and the fear that comes along with that. So,
both.
and your willingness to stand behind him and be that cheerleader and that champion. It's noble. And
his dad and I are super proud of him. It's an exciting time just to see your children, move on to the next phase of their lives. So
wow. Well, keep being inspirational to everybody, the kids that you teach day in and day out, the educators and the adults that you inspire every single day, your own kids, your own family. You're doing the right work, and you are changing lives on a day-to-day basis. Thank you for taking your ideas and putting them out there into the world, not just holding them onto yourself, for sharing them freely with everybody, for talking about them, for writing about them, taking chances, taking risks, and celebrating your story and who you are, because your story it's pretty stinking incredible. It's pretty amazing.
Thank you. So kind, Dave. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. On that, knowing that educators are jumping in and they're starting their day right now, or some are watching this on their way home and they're reflecting on their day, is there anything that you want to leave the audience with? On my podcast that is now in a 6-month pause because getting the energy up to do this again it's been a struggle. But I used to always ask people for their mic drop moment, that thing that they want to leave people with, that thing that they're going to remember from the conversation. Maybe it's something that you've already said that you want to circle back to. Maybe it's just a message of motivation. I've got so many things that you've said today that I want to pull back out, but I don't want to steal your thunder. Is there anything that you want people to hear and focus and resonate on?
I think just as educators, well, no, as humans, I'll say humans. I think it's just really important that we're all creating, right? Creating more than we consume, and making sure that our message is out there for the world to hear. Somebody is waiting for your message, and they're something that you have inside of you, a message that maybe you haven't even yet discovered. Get it out there. Share what you're doing. Share the awesome things that you're creating, that your students are creating, so that others are able to take that and do the same thing, inspire their kids and engage their kids, or other adults every single day. Create.
There you go. Get out there and do the work. Know that you're good enough. Know that you're smart enough. As Stuart Smiley would say as he's staring into the mirror, and gosh darn it, people love you. They do. Your kids need you. The world needs you. So go out there and contribute, create, and share your story. I love it. Love it. Dawn, thanks again for being here today, for sharing who you are and waking up with us here on Daily Drop-In. For those of you that are part of our network, or if you're brand new to the network, this is a great reminder that there's awesome opportunities for you to connect every single morning here on Daily Drop-In. You can also come join us in Ohio this fall at the Teach Better Conference. Proposals, if you want to share, if you want to create, if you want to present, are due like in 2 days. So get those proposals in. I know that there have been so many. I almost gave a number, but I don't want to give a number right now. So many proposals that have been submitted, and that vetting process is going to be happening really, really soon. So submit your proposal. I've been telling people it's like applying for a scholarship, because people who get their proposals accepted don't have to pay registration costs. So it's like a scholarship to come to the conference. So submit those proposals, get yourselves registered, come hang out with us in Ohio this fall. I'll be there. I'm going to be dragging Dawn along, whether she knows it or not. She's going to be.
Boom. I'm registered. I have been registered. I was like,
and there we go.
I was like, click.
There you go. So if you want to come rub shoulders with greatness and talk to Dawn, get yourself registered, submit those proposals, and we'll see you soon. So everybody, go enjoy your day, make a difference, commit to being just a little bit better today than you were yesterday. And if for some reason today's an epic failure, you've always got tomorrow. So go do your thing, and we will see you soon.